Morning mist drifts over the trees of West Bridgeford, Nottinghamshire, as the gate swings open to reveal the three-story townhouse where Chris Broad once lived with his wife Michelle, a peaceful setting far removed from the roar of Ash's crowds. Here, English townhouse intimacy meets American suburban warmth, a Boston brownstone with a backyard in the heart of Nottinghamshire. Today we'll step inside his home to explore his fortune, and the journey from a Bristol boy with brittle bones to an Ashes legend and father of Stuart Broad's legacy. Now let's rewind to his early life and career turning points. Chris Broad's story begins far from Trent Bridge or the MCG. He was born on the 29th of September 1957 in Knowle, Bristol, to Ken and Nancy Broad, in a modest West Country neighborhood where cricket grounds were local parks and school fields. His father bowled in club matches, and his mother ferried him to games. Both encouraged a boy who was tall for his age, but shy. Broad played for Long Ashton Cricket Club as a child, learning his trade on sloping outfields and worn pitches. At 15, a sudden diagnosis of osteomyelitis, a serious bone infection, forced him off the field and into hospital. Months of recovery taught him patience and determination. Looking back, Broad has said those long days gave me the stubbornness to bat for hours later on. Broad's first-class debut came in 1979 for Gloucestershire against Cambridge University. The match itself was unremarkable. He scored only 16 runs, but it marked the beginning of a career that would eventually see him face the fiercest bowling attacks in the world. By 1980, he had earned a regular spot with Gloucestershire, establishing himself as a tall, left-handed opener with a forceful, almost combative approach at the crease. But while his domestic performances improved, he began to feel that Gloucestershire offered little visibility for Test selection. Frustrated, Broad took a decisive step in 1984 by moving to Nottinghamshire, a county with stronger connections to the national selectors. That transfer proved career-defining. At Trent Bridge, Broad found both a platform and a partner. With Tim Robinson, he forged one of the most prolific opening combinations in English county cricket, their average stand the highest in Nottinghamshire's history. His consistency was remarkable. By 1990, he had amassed 2,226 runs in a single season at an average over 54, and 2 years later, he had completed the rare feat of scoring centuries against every county in the championship. Broad remained a reliable run machine until a chronic hip injury forced his retirement in 1994, closing a first-class career of more than 21,000 runs across 340 matches, with 50 centuries and a highest score of 227 not out. International cricket, however, was where Broad cemented his legacy. Though his Test debut against the West Indies in 1984 was daunting, facing the likes of Malcolm Marshall and Joel Garner, his true breakthrough arrived in the 1986-87 Ashes series in Australia. Across that winter, Broad became the backbone of England's batting, scoring 487 runs, including 3 consecutive centuries: 201 in Brisbane, 116 in Adelaide, and 112 in Melbourne. It was a run of form that placed him in rare company and helped secure England a 2-1 series victory. Recognition followed swiftly, with Broad named International Cricketer of the Year in 1987. After retirement, Broad turned his sharp eye for the game toward officiating. In 2003, he joined the ICC's elite panel of match referees, where he became only the second referee to oversee 250 ODIs and more than 70 tests. He dealt with both the routine and the extraordinary. None more dramatic than the 2009 Lahore terror attack, when the Sri Lankan team bus he was traveling with came under fire. Injured but alive, Broad would later speak bluntly about the inadequate security that nearly cost lives. His tenure as a referee, much like his playing career, was marked by authority, integrity, and the occasional blunt honesty that made him both respected and polarizing. Through all the highs and lows, Broad's life in cricket was defined by comebacks, bold decisions, and an enduring passion for the game. And while his travels took him across continents, the real center of his cricketing and personal world became Nottinghamshire, the county he chose as home, and the place where his story next turns. Nottinghamshire residence, a house of quiet memories. This Nottinghamshire residence is not a sprawling mansion in the vein of modern sports stars, but rather a warm, lived-in house that reflects Broad's grounded nature and the quieter chapters of his life. Spread across 3 floors, the main house was designed with comfort in mind rather than extravagance. The ground floor opens into a functional yet welcoming kitchen and breakfast room, the sort of place where Broad and his late wife, Michelle, could share morning conversations before life pulled them in different directions. The adjoining living room flows into a bright conservatory, which offers a clear view into the garden, Michelle's favorite spot, and a place where Broad himself often sought calm after long days on the cricket field or later in his officiating career. A toilet and shower room complete the ground floor, emphasizing practicality over flash. The first floor contains 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, intimate in scale, making the space feel more like a family home than a sportsman's estate. It was here that everyday life unfolded. The Broad children visiting, family dinners, and the small, unremarkable but cherished rituals that form the heart of domestic living. Above, the attic room occupies the 3rd floor, accessible by a simple drop-down ladder. Though not grand, it offered a private retreat, perhaps for storage, but just as easily a quiet corner where Broad could retreat with his thoughts. An outbuilding, added in the late 1990s, expanded the property into something more versatile. With a double bedroom, a spacious living room, and a large kitchen dining area opening directly onto the garden, the annex could easily host guests or serve as a self-contained living space. A separate shower room added convenience, while its layout created the possibility for Broad's family to spend time together, yet still enjoy independence. For a man who valued both privacy and connection, it was a thoughtful addition. The gardens, wrapping around 3 sides of the property, were carefully maintained, a blend of order and natural charm. Tall hedges and trees offered a sense of seclusion from the outside world, while open spaces provided room for gatherings, celebrations, and quiet evenings. For Michelle, who fought motor neurone disease with remarkable courage, the gardens offered a space of peace. After her passing in 2010, they became a place of reflection for Chris, filled with both the weight of loss and the comfort of memory. Today, the house awaits renovation, but its bones remain strong, a reminder of the life once lived inside its walls. It is not the flash of luxury that defines this residence, but the atmosphere of continuity, resilience, and memory. Here, Chris Broad balanced the pressures of public life with the grounding influence of home. It is also in this house that he channeled his grief into action, launching the Broad Appeal charity in Michelle's memory, giving the residence a deeper significance than any architectural detail could provide. That leads us naturally to the next chapter, Chris Broad's income and how cricket and life beyond the boundary shaped his financial journey. Income and net worth. By most estimates, his net worth sits around $3 million, comfortable but hardly eye-watering in an era when a single season of franchise cricket can dwarf a decade's earnings. His story is a reminder of what top-level cricket looked like before the IPL, the 100 and mega broadcast deals changed the landscape. During his playing years, 1984 to 1994, Broad was a full-time professional at a time when professional still meant economy flights, modest match fees, and endless county mileage. He turned out for Gloucestershire, then Nottinghamshire and Orange Free State, playing 26 tests and 34 ODIs for England. In the 1980s, an England player might earn $20,000 to $50,000 per test series, with county retainers in the $50,000 to $100,000 range per year. For a family man in West Bridgford, it was a decent wage, but nothing like the life-changing sums of today's leagues. His standout series, the 1986/87 Ashes in Australia, where he scored 3 consecutive hundreds, brought not only awards, but also a significant bump in bonuses, estimated at $800,000 to $1 million, nearly half of his eventual net worth. Endorsements added a modest layer of icing. As the 1987 International Cricketer of the Year, he signed with several sports brands, netting an estimated $200,000 to $300,000 over a few seasons. But Broad was never a flashy pitch-side marketer. Unlike some contemporaries, he preferred deals tied to his batting reputation, bats, pads, and the occasional clothing line, rather than glitzy consumer products. For American viewers, think of a clutch-hitting infielder who does regional ads rather than national campaigns. By the mid-1990s, he had moved into the media. BBC Test Match Special, Sky panels, and after-dinner speaking engagements provided steady work and a chance to retell Ashes stories to new generations. Those seasons brought $50,000 to $100,000 annually, building to perhaps $300,000 to $400,000 over time, roughly 20% of his total wealth. His speeches became a staple of cricket club dinners, mixing humor about his fiery Sydney dismissal with reflections on professionalism and preparation. The most reliable income stream of all came after he stopped playing. In 2003, Broad joined the ICC's elite panel of match referees, a role that takes him around the world overseeing tests, ODIs, and T20s. Elite referees receive around $3,000 to $5,000 per match, plus an annual retainer of roughly $100,000. With hundreds of internationals under his belt since 2003, those fees have contributed an estimated $400,000 to $500,000 to his portfolio, providing ongoing stability well into his 60s. It is, in effect, his second career, officiating instead of batting but still at the heart of the action. Broad's finances also reflect his personality. There's no splashy car collection, no Monaco penthouse. Instead, a comfortable Nottinghamshire home, family commitments, and a charity bearing his family's name. Philanthropy. His signature off-field project is The Broad Appeal, founded in 2011 in memory of his late wife Michelle, who died from motor neuron disease, MND. What began as a family's way of coping with loss quickly became one of the UK's most recognizable cricket-linked charity initiatives. Working closely with the MND Association UK, the Appeal Fund's research, patient support, and awareness campaigns for a condition that remains underfunded and little understood. The Broad Appeal's events reflect both the sport that made him famous and the community he calls home. Annual charity walks and runs at Trent Bridge turn the ground into a sea of blue t-shirts, uniting former teammates, fans, and local families. Gala dinners feature stories of Ashes tours and dressing room pranks, but also hard facts about MND's toll. These gatherings have raised hundreds of thousands of pounds since 2011 and helped put MND on the radar of cricket followers who might otherwise never hear of it. For American viewers, picture a retired MLB star converting his old ballpark into an annual marathon venue for ALS research. That's the scale and symbolism of Broad's work. His giving doesn't stop there. Broad has supported the Cricketers' Trust, formerly the PCA Benevolent Fund, which assists current and former professionals and their families in times of hardship. He has lent his name and his time to youth cricket programs across Nottinghamshire, often appearing at junior awards nights to hand out trophies and speak about resilience. Hospital charities have also benefited. As a guest speaker, he has helped raise funds for patient care units in the East Midlands, blending anecdotes about the 1986-87 Ashes with heartfelt pleas for community support. He has even dipped into mental health advocacy, especially after surviving the 2009 Lahore attack on the Sri Lankan team bus, while he was serving as an ICC match referee. Broad has spoken publicly about the trauma of that day and the need for psychological support for officials and players who experience violence or extreme stress on tour. His involvement has added credibility to campaigns aimed at normalizing mental health discussions in professional sport. Each event, each walk, Each check presented at a dinner also strengthens the Broad family narrative. His children, Stuart, who became one of England's greatest fast bowlers, and Gemma, a performance analyst, often join or support these efforts, turning the Broad appeal into a living family legacy rather than a static memorial. In doing so, Chris Broad has transformed personal grief into communal good, creating an enduring platform that carries his name into a second innings far beyond the pitch. Personal life. Broad has been married more than once, and each relationship has shaped different chapters of his life. His first marriage ended in divorce before the 1990s, leaving him a single father to two children, Stuart and Gemma. In the late 1990s, he found love again with Michelle "Mike" Broad, a former golf tournament organizer he met at a charity event. Their relationship blossomed, and for over a decade they built a shared life in Nottinghamshire. But in 2009, tragedy struck when Michelle was diagnosed with motor neuron disease, MND. The illness progressed cruelly, robbing her of her ability to speak and even to feed herself. On the 6th of July 2010, after 16 months of pain, she made the devastating decision to end her own life by overdosing on prescription medication. Chris discovered her collapsed in their home. She passed away the next day in hospital. Broad later spoke publicly about the anguish of Michelle's decision and the fact she had chosen to die alone to protect him from legal consequences. His candor placed him at the heart of Britain's ongoing debate about assisted dying. Even years later, he described how the loss haunted him, but also how it drove him to keep her memory alive through advocacy and charity work. Remarkably, just 4 weeks after Michelle's death, Broad was introduced, through mutual friends, on a blind date that Michelle herself had attended before her passing. What might have seemed impossibly soon developed into a relationship that Broad later described as both unexpected and healing. While he admitted missing Michelle deeply, particularly during lonely business trips, he found solace in the companionship and friendship that helped him move forward. His two children have also been central to his personal life. Stuart Broad, born in 1986, became one of England's most celebrated fast bowlers, capturing over 600 test wickets before retiring in 2023. He followed his father into Nottinghamshire cricket and wore the England colours with distinction, even captaining the side in shorter formats. Stuart has spoken movingly about Michelle's illness and how it affected the family. Meanwhile, Gemma Broad built her own career away from the crease, contributing as a performance analyst for England's one-day team. Yet Broad's personal life has never been far from controversy, much of it stemming from his fiery temperament as a player. In 1987, during an ODI in Lahore, he refused to walk after being given out, standing at the crease defiantly as the crowd booed. The standoff lasted over a minute, and while some admired his stubbornness, many saw it as arrogance. The following year, during the bicentennial test in Sydney, Broad's frustration boiled over again. This time he smashed his own stumps after being bowled, an act that earned him a reprimand for unsportsmanlike conduct. Perhaps the most damaging decision came in 1989-90, when Broad joined the Rebel England tour to apartheid-era South Africa, ignoring the international boycott. The move effectively ended his international career and stained his reputation. Cricket writers like Colin Bateman later observed that Broad self-destructed a career that could have delivered so much more. As a match referee, his record has been steadier, though not without moments of scrutiny. In 2009, he survived the Lahore terror attack that targeted the Sri Lankan team bus, an ordeal that left him shaken, but alive. In 2023, however, he drew headlines again when he posted and quickly deleted a meme mocking Australian batsman David Warner during the Ashes, a breach of referee neutrality that earned him a reprimand from the ICC. Through it all, Chris Broad has remained a figure both admired and debated, a man of talent, temper, resilience, and contradiction. His personal life tells the story of someone who has endured immense loss, courted controversy, but ultimately found ways to rebuild. If you loved this inside look, Please hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss our next deep dive into the homes and lives of sporting legends. Your support keeps these stories alive and growing. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.